excited today to talk about one of my favorite things, Thanksgiving. This is gonna be a story of what it's like to be gluten-free mom for Thanksgiving. Stay tuned because I will be sharing the best way to make a turkey. I will be sharing some of my favorite sides, including stuffing and gravy, and my current favorite dessert. That'll be all the way at the end because that's when we have dessert. Keep watching and I'm very excited to share. So Thanksgiving, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. I want to know your favorite side for your Thanksgiving meal. Put it down below and make sure to comment if you need a gluten-free version. I might have one so I can help you. Also be checking the comments. I will be throwing down there my Facebook group for all things gluten-free, and I will be sharing in there more detailed recipes that I'm sharing today. So go check that out down there. When it's about a week before Thanksgiving, what do we have to think about, right? If you're hosting, if you're cooking, that turkey. So make sure to go check. I'll put a guide, you can screenshot here, of how long you need to defrost that bird so it can really de-thaw and be able to be cooked. You have your turkey out, then you can kind of game plan. Have fun. What do you really want in your meal? What's a have to have and what's a not? Because if you're just making it because, please don't just make it. Make sure you delegate tasks. Give them out to people and see who can do what and kind of plan it out for you. It's okay, I'm giving you permission, to have pre-made brought-in things. Like what's important, like if you want to just get a gluten-free pie or different desserts or sides, like that's okay. Just decide what's gonna be best for you. And here I'm gonna share what I do. I do stuff from scratch. There's a lot of times in my day-to-day things that I do pre-made stuff. But for Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving's special to me. So if it's special for you, I got you. Now, a few days before your big meal, I'd say 3. This is what you're gonna wanna do to have the best turkey. That actually isn't very hard, I don't think. You're gonna wanna brine it. And we have tried many different ways of cooking turkeys over the year. We have done the bag, which works. If this is your first time ever cooking a turkey, totally go get one of those poultry bags. You just put your turkey in there, follow the instructions, use gluten-free flour, not regular flour, in there, and just cook it. That's a very simple way. But my favorite way is a dry brine. You can do a wet brine where it's literally in water and we'd put it in a garbage bag. Or a dry brine is where you put this salt mixture all over your turkey and you put it in your fridge uncovered. And it actually dries out the skin, which sounds bad, but it does this cool sciencey thing and it helps get the meat really moist and flavorful. And then before you cook the bird, you actually wash off the brine because it's been sitting there for 3 days. But it's very important to wash it off or it'll be very salty. The bird does actually cook faster this way is what we have found, which is great. We started off following the guidelines and then we just find that it's done sooner. So we keep an eye on it, but it is so full of flavor. I will share in the comments and I'll put here so you can screenshot some different brine recipes. It's all gonna kind of depend on what flavors you like, but this is a couple that we've really liked. I love the gravy that is made when a turkey is brined because the drippings are full of flavor and it's so good. Take the drippings. I might add in a little broth if I need to, but I'll just use cornstarch, right? You whisk up, you mix cold water and cornstarch, and then you add in the gravy. I will put in the comments that I have a video on how to do that and the instructions down in the comments. But one of my favorite ways right now is I'll do a couple tablespoons of butter in a pan with a couple tablespoons of gluten-free flour, and you make a roux, right? You guys know this? Where you kind of cook that on about medium heat in your pan until it kind of gets brown, let's say 2 to 3 minutes. And then you add in your drippings and maybe a little broth if you need to, slowly until you kind of get the right texture and it thickens up. You can also add in some garlic or anything like that at that point, but you can just keep it real simple. Just stir it till it thickens up a little bit, the moisture till you get the right level. Add a little salt and pepper to taste. You guys know when I say to taste, it's literally like you taste it and then you put in a little salt, a little pepper, and then you taste it and you put in a little more. Now the more you cook, the more natural this kind of comes to you, but that's what to taste means if you ever see that. That's how I make my gravy day of. Now, what I do 2 days before is I'll double check that I have everything I need. Potatoes, veggies, I often do like frozen veggies that I'll pull out. I like having peas and corn with my meal. Anyone else? I'd love to know, comment below what veggies you always like to have in your Thanksgiving meal. But we love peas and corn. I do like sweet potatoes, but when my family does it with my mom and everyone, we tend to just do potatoes. But I love just like baked sweet potatoes are so good. And it's so easy because you guys can just wrap them in foil and throw them in the oven around the turkey for like 45 minutes or an hour and just pull out to serve with butter, salt, and pepper. Super easy, yummy recipe. So on day 2 is also when I often make dessert, which you'll find that recipe at the end, one of my favorite pie recipes. That's actually very easy because of a hack that I like to do. I prep everything, make sure I have everything set, and if it was my mom, which I'm not, she also does times on when she's gonna do everything. I'm not that detailed. I just kind of make sure I have everything. Don't have to over worry about it, right? And then on the day before is when I make my stuffing. I love my mom's stuffing. She makes it. It's a version from Betty Crocker that we've like adapted. So it's kind of like an apple sage stuffing. Now I'm gluten-free. Here's what I have found. Hands down, absolutely. My favorite bread to use for stuffing is the homemade bread that I have that recipe in the bread machine. I'm gonna put that in the comments. You guys go check out that recipe. It has over 100 and something thousand views because it really works. It's so easy. It works really well. So make sure to go check that out and then cook that a couple days ahead of time, and then you'll have it ready. Because store-bought bread, you sometimes will need to dry out a little bit, which sounds weird, right? But it just doesn't do as well, the gluten-free bread, but you can do it. Grab some gluten-free bread that is store-bought if you need to, and you're gonna actually toast that a little bit to dry it out before you add in all the other mixtures. But here's why I love this recipe. You take butter and you melt down the butter in a pan, and you add in onions and celery and then all the herbs and apples. It's so good. Then you put in your bread and a little bit of broth. So usually what I do is I do that part without the broth. It's the bread with all the yummy, yummy butter mixture. And I put that in the fridge. Now my mom will make this like a week ahead of time and put it in the freezer. And then the next day, I just go ahead and put it in a casserole dish, right? And add in a little bit of broth. And you can kind of adjust depending on how moist you like your stuffing or dressing. And then I'll just cook it like the last 20 or 30 minutes till the top, you want the top nice and golden and yummy. When I go to my mom's and I cook it separate, and then I get a whole thing of stuffing for leftovers afterwards. Win-win. And remember, you guys, if you're going somewhere for Thanksgiving, bring your own things that you know you're gonna want, because it really does make a difference and it's totally worth the time. Again, something like stuffing you can make ahead of time and just freeze it. So Thanksgiving Day. Now here's something I think is important on Thanksgiving morning. Eat some food. Now if you're kind of more health focused and you don't want to overeat at Thanksgiving, eat some protein. Eat a good breakfast. That way you're not going into there like starving. And it'll help keep you balanced throughout the day, because anyone else, we can get a little moody and stressed right before the big meal because we're trying to do all the things. So eating and having food is really helpful. I'll even eat breakfast, and since we do like a later lunch, I'll eat a little snack too because I'll get hungry. And when you're trying to cook food last minute and you're hungry and cranky, it's not good. Because I don't mind. I don't have to stuff myself at Thanksgiving because I'm just gonna do leftovers for the next few days, and I'm gonna eat pie. We like to watch the parade. Anybody else? This is a fun thing for the kids to have on. Now, when it comes to rolls, I don't do rolls. Rolls are not an important part of the Thanksgiving experience for me. So the work and effort of making homemade gluten-free rolls is not worth it. I'd rather have extra stuffing. Anyone else team stuffing? Now, a lot of you guys love your rolls. So I highly recommend looking up a gluten-free bakery near you. Lots of them will have them on sale right now that you can go get, or you can buy in the store, or you can learn to make your own. I don't have a good recipe, so I'm not gonna share one with you and pretend it's good, because I don't have one. This is me being real and honest. So someday I might have one and then I will share it with you. But on that day, after we've cooked all the food, this is what my Thanksgiving spread looked like. Do you guys see all these options and how fun this is? I forgot to mention the cranberry sauce. I have a great cranberry sauce recipe that I'll put down in the comments. And again, if you go to my group, so you'll see down there, Facebook group, go to that group and I will have a whole bunch. I'm gonna have a master list of gluten-free Thanksgiving recipes in there that you can check out any time of the year, whatever you're watching this video, of my favorites in there. But this can be such a special time, and I really don't want you to feel like you're missing out because of diet restrictions. That's my heart with sharing this video, is I want to encourage you and hope you feel like, oh, this is gonna be good. I can do this. We have this delicious meal. My family has a tradition on going on a walk, because there's actually two reasons. I don't know if you guys know this, but a really good thing for insulin levels and dealing with all that sugar and carbs is walking. It helps your body deal with it so you don't crash as much. But the main reason is we want room for pie. I think if we go walk and then rest a little bit, we'll have more room for pie. This is my recipe for pecan pie. It's super simple. If you want my exact recipe with all the written out, just go join my group. I'll have it in there. Really just use a bought-in pie crust from a local bakery, because that is just not worth the effort and it doesn't work out well for me. This comes out much more successfully. So go check that out, you guys. I hope this has been helpful. Again, share your favorite gluten-free Thanksgiving recipes below, and you guys all have a really wonderful Thanksgiving with your family.